activating your love center. We are Shaltazar, the Gavish Banenu, the energy of 33, the Master Teacher, and we have come forth at this time to bring you divine wisdom. We are here with you now and forever. Now take a deep breath. Breathe us in so you may come to the place of oneness. For in that place, you will feel love. If you are not feeling deep divine love, you are not in the place of oneness, for they are synonymous with each other. In the place of oneness, you can feel unity with the Source and all of life. Try to let go of your mind, for as we have told you before, the mind will keep you separate. And thus, when you are focusing with your mind, you will not be here with us. The choice is always yours. Be unto yourself true. Feel the wind, feel the calm, feel the up, and feel the down, and even feel the light, and feel the darkness. For all are God's creations. To be at one in the duality is a challenge, and it was not meant for you to be in the oneness at all times in human form. The purpose of your humanness is to fully experience the duality, but that does not mean you cannot join us in the oneness more often. How can we be in the oneness more if we must let go of the mind to do so? Can we only come to the oneness in our meditative state, you ask? That is a good question. It is very logical, and we understand your reasoning. Although we encourage you to drop the mind, to let go, to surrender in order to find that oneness, once you have practiced often, you can learn to do so without so deliberately having to drop the mind. Dropping the mind and being in the stillness just sets the stage, so to speak, for you to connect with your divinity. Is it possible to be in our divinity and in our mind consciousness at the same time, you ask? Yes, with much practice. For since you live in the duality where all is two, that also is the case for you. Yes, there are two of you, so to speak, a human self and a divine self, all living within your human form. Unfortunately, for many, those two selves are so very different. It is difficult to join them in perfect harmony. Although the masters who have come to your planet over the eons were able to accomplish this feat, we must tell you it is not an easy task. Mastering the duality takes dedication, perseverance, but most of all, patience and surrender. Unfortunately, the more one tries to unite the two selves in human form, the more elusive the oneness can be. Your two selves are very different, and to attain the state of perfect balance required to master the duality is a very delicate task. We do not wish to frighten you by telling you how difficult it is, but just know you are very capable of doing so. Practicing to drop the mind and strengthening your connection to your divine self is the first and very important step. But now you are ready to learn the next step. From the place of peace and serenity that comes with you connecting to your divinity, connect even stronger to divine love. How do you do so, you ask? By feeling a very deep connection to your essence. That is the feeling you have had many times before when you were just spirit without form. What does that feel like, you ask? It is difficult to describe, and by attempting to do so, you will lose the essence of that feeling. Just move to that place within you that knows that feeling. It is your love center. Find it in your body and bring your attention to it. Some say it is the heart, and that is so. But know that the love center in your human form is in more places than just in your heart. Your love center is in your DNA, and therefore it is in every cell of your body. Although to your logical mind you may assume, because it is in every cell, that your love center is very small. That is not the case. Your love center is the most important part of you. It may not feel that way to you, and that is the case for most humans. The reason that is so is because many of you are disconnected from your love center. And when that is the case, your love center is in a somewhat deactivated position. Let us use the analogy of a pilot light in your gas-fired furnace or fireplace. The pilot light is very tiny and often hard to find with the eye. It does not burn brightly, and you can't really feel any heat from it. But when you ignite the pilot light by applying fuel to it, you then witness spontaneous combustion, and the flames ignite. Of course, oxygen is required to keep the flame burning brightly. Following our analogy, what do you think is required within the love center, your pilot light, to activate it so it burns strongly? You see, when the love center in all your cells is activated, then you are capable of mastering the duality. From this place of totally activated or engaged love center, you can move from your divinity to your humanness and still be in a state of oneness. You bring together both selves into one united self while still in human form. This is the state that many of you talk about when describing the masters that have visited your planet from time to time. Often they are described as being very loving, compassionate, kind, gentle, and calm. In other words, enlightened. Their love center is activated or lit up. Now that we have piqued your interest, we would imagine you are anxious to know more about the spark and the oxygen required to activate your love center. The spark can be attained when you make conscious contact with the source. What does this mean, you ask? It is when you feel at one with your Creator. Some of you have had moments like this when you feel tingles throughout your body, when tears come to your eyes without reason, when you feel a rush of hot or cold. It can occur when you feel something stronger than any human emotion. It is a feeling of knowing. Some feel it in the midst of a deep meditation, or during an energy healing session, or when they meet someone they feel very connected to, or even watching a beautiful sunset. It is difficult for us to totally describe this feeling, but for those of you who have experienced it, you know what we are describing. That spark moment when you make conscious contact with God and feel at one with your Creator. For those of you who have had the good fortune to have experienced this spark, you know that all too often the spark passes and you go back to feeling, let us say, more human and less divine. That is because you were unable to connect to the oxygen that would fully ignite or activate your love center totally. Before we tell you of what the oxygen is, may we remind you that in order to experience the spark, you most likely were in a state where you dropped your mind. It happened when you allowed yourself to be at peace and when you went inward, so to speak, to connect with the stillness that does not exist in the hustle and bustle of the human world. Whether you have or you haven't experienced this spark, please practice doing so. Find your own practices and techniques so you can make conscious contact with the source, and do so often. Now let us share what the oxygen is in our analogy, the thing that ignites the spark and activates the love center in each and every one of your cells. What we are referring to is self-love. Yes, that is the oxygen required to activate the spark so you are fully connected to your love center. When you have made conscious contact with God, if you move to the place of loving yourself fully, you can achieve oneness, a unity of your human self and your divine self. Yes, loving yourself as fully and unconditionally as you possibly can will allow you to feel at one, not only with yourself, but with all life. We will leave you with some homework, and that is to contemplate more fully and reflect on what it means to practice total self-love. This is not as easy as you may think, and that is because self-love does not come from the thinking place, but instead from the feeling place. So many humans have not put the effort into fully understanding what total self-love really is. It is not something we can tell you about. It is something you must find on your own. After more reflection on what self-love means, begin to practice it more often. So when a spark, conscious contact with God, shows up in your life, it will be easier to bring forth the oxygen, self-love, so you may attain the oneness or unity that the masters have attained in the past.